You know what's funny about Star Wars, right? Is everybody else absolutely had this big crush on Amy Jo Johnson. I'm not sure if you're familiar with who she is. So she was the original Pink Power Ranger, right? Back in Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. She was so cool, so tough. She could handle herself in any given situation. She could fight off the bad guys. But you know who it was for me? It was Carrie Fisher. I loved her being the badass who sat there laying on the bench, right, waiting for them to come in. And here they are. They're like, "We're here to rescue you," and she just goes, "Aren't you a little short to be a stormtrooper?" Like, what? What? Like that was her. Then that was her personality too, right? Like you were talking earlier to me about how looks match personality and how personality matches looks and everything like that. She was Princess Leia. Like you cannot replace her as Princess Leia.
I will agree but disagree because I do think it is time to recast the original trilogy cast. I think it's time. I think they have to. I mean, in the Ahsoka series, they keep mentioning Leia. They don't want to show Leia. They already recast Han and Solo. Say what you will, great movie.
I
Solo
thought it
was
was
a good
good.
movie. Solo was a phenomenal film. I enjoyed that movie. I saw it 2 or 3 times in theaters. I've probably seen it a couple more times on Disney Plus since. I loved it. I loved Solo. And I thought Alden Ehrenreich was great in that movie. Donald Glover was great.
Absolutely.
It's time to recast Luke Skywalker and Leia, and it's time to do something with them. It's time to do something.
See,
Um,
the biggest thing that's stopping that is that people don't want the Skywalker saga anymore. They want other stuff. They want more lore. They want more what's
yeah,
going on in the universe.
I know, but
So
if you look me in the eyes honestly, and you tell me that somebody doesn't want to see the original trilogy cast reunite finally, um, I'll call you a liar. I'll call you a liar because we all want that. Realistically, we all want to see the original trilogy back on screen together.
yes, yes,
Um, but yeah, I don't know. Maybe not. That's just me. But I'm excited. I'm excited for the future of Star Wars.
I am
Like
too.
I said, it's been a shaky road the last couple of years with Star Wars.
Yes,
But I'm excited. There's gonna be more Jedi. There's gonna be more stuff going on, and actors are gonna play those roles. Might as well be me. Same with Marvel. I would love to play a superhero. Somebody's gonna play the X-Men. The X-Men are gonna be cast soon. And all I'm saying
you
is
will.
my hair is black right now, but Angel got blonde hair and it's long. I would love to play Angel. Angel's never been done right in any of the X-Men movies. I would love to play that role.
I think I think I agree with you to a certain extent. You know what I think? I think would make a phenomenal Leia is her daughter. Do you remember what was it? Rogue
She
One?
Billy Lord. What?
Yeah, it was Rogue One that she was in, correct?
Billy Lord?
I'm sorry.
Billy Lord?
Yes, yes.
Billy Lord was in all 3 of the sequels.
Okay. So, but she was specifically in Rogue One, and they CGI'd her face to look like
Was that her? I
I'm
didn't know that
almost
was I
certain it
didn't know
was
what that
her.
was.
And I think you know what? I'm gonna do research on this. We're gonna look this up real quick. Hold on a second. Hold on a second. I never pull my phone out on this podcast. I'm gonna do it now just for this. Who played Leia in Rogue One? Oh no, it wasn't her. Okay, it was Ingvild Dyla. I don't even know who that is. Hold on a second. Mm, See that name?
Oh, I've never heard of her.
I haven't either. But yeah, no. I for her even she did phenomenal. I would say cast her. You could have Billy Lord play her because I believe she had in the sequel she had the hairstyle, right?
She did, yeah.
I think she'd be perfect. I think she'd be perfect.
I'm just excited to see what happens. I'm just excited to see where it goes. And if I could be a part of it, I would love that.
I would love to be part of it too. And the other thing too, right? You mentioned how it's been a shaky road, but I will say this: we bought the Acolyte back,
Is the Acolyte coming back?
season two.
When was that announced?
Like I think a couple days ago, a couple weeks ago, maybe.
I didn't see it. But look, the Acolyte, I there were parts of it I really liked. And there were some really dumb parts of it.
Yes.
There were I will say the concept of it I was totally cool with. all of the characters I was totally cool with. But I mean, I'm sorry. I think it really was a waste of a show. Especially,
There,
we'll say the choreography was amazing. It was
yeah,
phenomenal compared to what the sequels was. Acolyte's choreography was next level. Honestly, I'm willing to say, the fight in episode 5 was probably better than Anakin and Obi-Wan in Revenge of the Sith. I'm bold enough to say it. I'm sorry, it's just
I
true.
agree.
Anakin and Obi-Wan, great fight. Duel of the Fates, great fight. But seeing the group lightsaber duel in, that's also the first time we've ever really seen like a full group lightsaber duel in like
Yes,
Star Wars like that.
yes.
That was pretty sick. That was pretty sick. Not to get a little too nerdy right now, but that was sick. I enjoyed that. I had a great time watching that. As a fan, as someone who's been a fan my whole life, I did feel that that was a very well done fight. And watching the behind the scenes choreography for that as well, seeing the behind the scenes footage of them learning it. I mean, they put in the work for that. They really did, and
They
they
did.
earned it. They earned it.
I
Some of
think
the writing, a little iffy, but other than that, and the visual effects in that show as well were phenomenal. I mean, we can complain about visual effects on a lot of projects, but not on the Acolyte. It was phenomenal on there.
it was. I think the biggest thing that kind of hurt them, right? They're building up this big Sith Lord that nobody knows who he is, nobody knows what he's about, what his goal is, and then they just kind of revealed it. What was it, like 3, 4 episodes in, who he was and everything like that? It kind of dispersed the mysterious bravado of who he was.
See, I didn't mind that at all, actually. Obviously, I was one of those people who already speculated that it was him.
I
When he
did
showed up
too.
in the second episode, I was immediately like, "Oh, if he's not a Sith, he's working for the Sith." I was like, "Yeah,
Yes,
come on, be for real."
yes.
Um, like
I at least
it
thought
was
he was working.
very obvious. Which I don't mind. I don't mind. Certain things in a show don't have to be mysterious.
Right,
Um, they don't have to be. It doesn't all the time have to be mysterious. That's my biggest problem with Star Wars right now. Honestly, is that they make everything a mystery, and it doesn't have to be.
right.
Watching the Bad Batch, the whole thing, the entire series is the mystery about Omega and why the Empire wants her. And they don't ever actually say what that mystery is. Even in the end of the show, it's never really explained. There's hints about it, but like they make the whole thing a mystery. And why? It's okay for us to know things. As an
Right.
audience members, we're allowed to know. Even if the
Yeah.
characters don't know, we're allowed to know certain things. And mysteries can be fun. Watching the sequels and trying to figure out who Rey was and who her parentage was, yes, that was fun. It was fun as a fan to speculate. That was something we can totally keep a mystery. But going into the sequels and trying to figure out who Kylo Ren was, and before we knew that he was Han and Leia's son, um, was that really that much of a secret to keep? Like, did we really need to not know that? That was a huge
Right.
mystery. Or even like what Luke was doing. Why did that have to be a mystery? Why are these things mysteries? We didn't need that to be. We already had a great mystery in who Rey was.
Yes. Yes.
One mystery is fine, but everything doesn't have to be a mystery. And then I don't know. That's my biggest problem with Star Wars right now is that they lean into this mystery stuff, then the mystery isn't important, and then it is important, but then it's not, or it's not worthwhile, or it doesn't have a satisfying ending.
It's almost as if they kind of do the reverse. Like when it should be a mystery, they don't make it a mystery, but then when like it should be, it doesn't have to be, like you were saying.
Yes, I will.
Right.
I will absolutely agree with that statement. It is
Yeah.
100%. When it should be a mystery, it's not, and when it is, and when it should be, they blow it.
It's like Plagius, right? Like they said who he was like super early on in the series, long before all these shows came out, and there's just no mystery as to who he is now. He was Sidious's master. Sidious killed him. Sidious took his place. This, that, and the third. You know how much of a series that could have been alone just on Plagius?
Well, that, but also like we know who Darth Plagueis is, and you hold him off until he shows up in for like a 1 second appearance in the final episode of The Acolyte. Um, but it's not like we don't know who Plagueis is. But
Right.
now, you said Black Acolyte was renewed. I haven't seen that yet, but if it is, great. But let's say it isn't renewed, then now you have Plagueis sitting there for one tiny little second of a show. His relationship with Khmer is not resolved. It's not explained at all. Is he Khmer's master? Is he Khmer's apprentice?
Right.
Where's Plagueis in relation to all this? Like, I don't want to get too nerdy on this podcast right now, but I'm like, he kind of wasted that. Why would you even have him show up just for the little mystery or whatever? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
This topic actually leads me to my next question for you. We were talking about challenges that Star Wars has faced. For you as an actor, what challenges have you faced and how have you overcome them?
Um, well, I would say the biggest challenge as an actor is just getting the work, honestly. Once you have the work, assuming you've done your homework and you not every actor goes through training, but I personally have. Um, but it's just getting the work. That's the hardest part of it. I mean, and finding your way in. I mean, backstage has been a godsend. As I'm currently unrepresented, I don't have an agent right now. Um, Getting auditions would be impossible without backstage. I mean, it really would be. I mean, basically every role I've had in a project that I've been an actor in has come from backstage. I've only had one role in a film. That it was a very small, not even a speaking role. It was just a slightly featured cameo, not background, but just a little featured, whatever. Maybe actually you probably could call it featured background, but it technically was a role. I believe I was credited for it. So, um, but I got that just because I knew somebody she was the producer of the film, and she was like, "Hey, I've got this role. If you'd love to just pop in and do it." I was like, "Great, fine. I'd be happy to. I loved working with her, so she was great to. It was great to come work for her again. But in general, it's just getting your foot in the door and figuring out how to do it. And honestly, as an actor, if you're not looking to work behind the scenes, because like I said, I did start working in film behind the scenes. If you're not looking to work behind the scenes at all, backstage is how you do it. And yeah, a lot of gigs on backstage are unpaid or they're deferred payment or like you get a profit share, which could end up being nothing in general. Like profit shares don't always work out
Right.
because the movies don't always make money. And that's just
Right.
fortunately the business that we're in.
Yes.
Um, I mean, like I said, some projects do give you a day rate. Are You Worthy had a day rate for us. I don't know how the crew was.
Yeah,
But for
pretty
us
much.
actors, we were each paid per day.
Yep, that was our one with us as well.
Okay.
So,
So yeah, some projects have that. That was great. And Scott was very, we were very lucky that he was able to do that because it was very beneficial to get that, that payment right up front instead of having to wait.
right.
To be honest, I don't even remember what was in the contract if there is a profit share on that as well. I did not look it over very well. I will be honest, which is not good advice.
No,
To anybody listening, look over your contracts.
agreed. Yeah.
Um,
He was, I will definitely say, Scott was definitely very accommodating to all of us, not just, just the actors, but the crew and the makeup artist and the people who rented out the house. Like he was very accommodating to almost every single person.
he was, and I thought it was very respectable of him to not rush into the production when he couldn't afford it. Like when we had to add days to the schedule, which nobody ever wants to do, but unfortunately that is the reality we work in. If we need more time, he said, I can't pay right now, so we're not going to do this until I can afford to pay you guys.
Yeah,
And we waited a couple months before we shot the last. I think it was it 2 more days or 1 more day? I don't remember.
I think it was maybe I was there for a total of 3 days, I believe. And I think you guys had maybe two or three, so I would say maybe total of 5 or 6 days.
I had 5 days on that shoot, but there were other days I wasn't there. There was 2 or 3 more days that I wasn't
Okay, so maybe
on.
let's say 5 to 8 days.
But there was after we delayed the end of production just to get the last couple scenes done. I don't know. I think it was 2 extra days that we added on, or maybe it was just one. I don't remember. But regardless, he was like, "Hey, I don't have the money to do that right now." And instead of saying like, "Oh, I'll get you guys eventually," like come down and do this now, and I'll pay you guys eventually. He was like, "No, I'm gonna wait until I have the money to pay you guys, and we'll do it right."
Yeah.
Very respectable of him. That is not how this industry usually goes.
No, no. And
Unfortunately, people are on their time, not on our time.
yes. And I think I think that's good to a certain degree, but you also have to remember that the studios and the producers also have a tight schedule as well. Like
Oh, absolutely.
it's good for something like this when you're an independent film, but I feel if you're an actor trying to make it big, once you make it big, you have to remember you're not on your time anymore. You're now on their time.
Well, there is that. That is true. But I kind of have a love hate relationship with the term make it big because what does that really mean realistically?
Yes.
Um, I think that that's also another thing too. Like I'm a professional actor. Like I do this for work. I do this.
Yeah.
I get paid for what I do. I'm trained. I'm qualified, and I do this as a job.
Of
I
course.
don't. It's not my main job, but I still do it. Um,
Right.
and people all the time, they like some people will get on me like, well, you're not a professional actor. You're not famous. No, you're right. I'm not famous, but there's a lot of actors out there who are not famous, but they're professional and this is
Yeah.
their life and that's what they do. I think that to make it big is obviously the goal is, the end goal is to have a name recognition, to get those big roles like Star Wars or Marvel or whatever it ends up being. Um, but um, I think the goal is really just to do this in a way that we can live our lives based on the money that we make from these projects. Like my
Yes.
my
Absolutely.
personal goal, as much as I would love to do those big projects, is not to not to be famous. Don't get me wrong, I'd love the attention. I'm an attention whore. But my personal goal is really more, I want to be able to live my life doing what I like to do. And acting is a really big part of that. Filmmaking in general, because I do also, as much as I love acting, I also love working behind the scenes. Acting, filmmaking, writing too. Speaking of that, like I know Scott has a lot of plans for what he wants to do after Are You Worthy. I know he's got ideas for what I think he said he had ideas for like a 9 film story or something. Um,
Yeah.
if he wants a co-writer, sign me up because I'd love to have that. I've written stuff before, but nothing that I've ever written has ever been produced, and I would love to jump on and help him out. And obviously, I'd follow his ideas and everything, but I've got ideas for where I think that story should go. I'd love to throw my hand in there, but regardless,
I'll pass the word
uh,
along to him.
what?
I'll pass the word along to him. I'll let him know you said that.
Well, if he's watching this, Scott, you got my number. Actually, I don't know if he has my number. You got me on Discord. Um, so, but I'd love to, Are You Worthy isn't out yet, and I can't spoil anything for what goes on in that movie. But I will just say, as an actor, I'd love to work with these people again if there's a possible way to make that happen. As somebody who's works in film regardless, I would love to work with these people behind the scenes or whatever role that ends up being. Um, I had a great time with Carolyn and a great time with um, Arno and with everyone else. I'd love to see them all again. But regardless, I feel like I got a little off topic on that. I don't know where we are going
You're
with it.
good.
Oh, we're
You're
talking
good.
about challenges. Yeah, no, realistically, the biggest challenge is just getting in that audition room. And then once you're in that room, if you've done your work and you've done the preparation and you know what you're doing and you're ready,
Yeah.
to be home free. I mean, yeah, rejection happens. I've been rejected from a lot of roles. Um, I will say, and I've had a lot of discussion about this with some very close industry professionals to me, um, and the success that I've had being out in Jersey only for a year. Not that I've not done stuff in Chicago as well, but since I moved to Jersey, the success that I've had really is unprecedented, and most people don't see the return on this work that I have. I feel very lucky. In the last year, I've done 3 films. I was actually booked for a fourth. I had to drop for personal reasons. Unfortunately, I was offered another role. As you know, I unfortunately the timing just was not going to work out for that on me.
Right.
Um,
We were gonna work on a project together, and you told me about that a little bit. So
yeah, which
I still
I
got stuff in the works.
I'm
So
excited. I'm excited to see what happens with it, even if I'm not in it. But the timing was just not. gonna work for me. I really was just too busy at the time.
Understood.
I was excited for it. The idea was really cool. I'm excited. Is Spencer still in that, or is he? Or are you going
Yeah,
with?
yeah, Spencer's still in it, and another buddy of mine is taking up the role as well, and we have a whole camera crew, cast crew right now. It's scary, man, but it's fun.
Well, I'm excited to see that. I'm excited to see that when it comes out.
Can't wait to show you guys.
Yeah. Well, still waiting on Are You Worthy? Another movie that I just got wrapped on actually is almost done with. I'm pretty sure the premiere for that movie is gonna be this upcoming Saturday or something.
Wow, very nice. Where are you premiering?
Yeah, I think in Newark, but honestly, I'm not sure. I don't really have the information. The director's kind of running it really fast. We only wrapped production on it a couple weeks ago, and now what we did was we literally would take the camera, take the SD card out between each take. We take the footage, and after not between each take, but between each like scene, we'd upload that footage to the editing computer, put it in, start getting it in the software, and they'd be editing it as we were shooting.
It hasn't
Which
been
is
what?
insane. They'd be editing the footage as we were shooting more footage,
Oh.
which is insane. That's not industry standard, but to be honest, it probably should be. Even if you're not doing full edits, you're getting a full rough cut of everything day of, um, getting it, getting stuff ready, getting like that basic layout done. Honestly, I don't know why more productions don't do that because editing is a bitch.
It is.
Editing is the hardest part. I mean, I've taken classes and I hate it. I will never. There are a lot of jobs in film that I'm willing to do, but being an editor will never be one of them. I hate using Premiere. I hate using DaVinci. I hate using all that stuff. I do not like it. It's not fun for me. I do not enjoy it. I feel for everyone who does it. I feel like editing is the unappreciated art.
It,
They call it the
thing,
invisible
man.
art because it's meant to not be noticed.
Right. Like they don't realize, so they see you in front of the camera. They see Spencer in front of the camera, Josh in front of the camera, Arno, Caroline, all those people in front of the camera. They don't see the 12 hours a day that people put into filming to editing the movie, filming the movie, just set design alone. They don't even really humble themselves enough to say thank you for things, like it, it's
I know.
mind-boggling. It's mind-boggling. I'm using Premiere Pro, right? And the biggest thing that I struggle with is just exporting something. Just getting something exported so that I can share it. That is
Yeah.
the biggest struggle. Everything else I understand completely. But that one tiny little thing, forget it. Forget it.
Yeah, I'm just not a fan. I hate using Premiere. I hate using After Effects. I hate using the Adobe. And don't get me wrong, the Adobe software is great.
It
Like
is.
as
Wonderful.
for a user, it is very user friendly. It is very
Yes.
very nice to work with. If you're doing that, I just hate having to do it. I have no desire to ever do it.
I did YouTube about 10 years ago. That was an absolute fail of an experiment of how things were. And we had a cast and crew ready for a movie that we were gonna make. I wish I still had that script. I do. But we were getting ready to make that project, and then came the time to actually start to work, right? And nobody wanted to put the work in because it was too hard, because it was too much, because it was too this, it was too that. I'm like, what do you think I'm gonna go through when it comes to editing? And they're just like, you guys get to looking at the camera. You guys get to act. You guys get to do this. You guys get now. Don't get me wrong. That's all challenging stuff to do as well, and
Absolutely.
it is. But like we were saying, they don't see the editing work that goes with it. They don't see the camera work. They don't see the equipment
Yeah.
we have to carry. You remember when we were in the first day in the woods, right?
Yes.
Um, uh, uh, I remember it was like 7, 8 o'clock at night, and it was dark as anything.
Oh, it was pitch black when we were
Yeah,
leaving. Yeah.
yeah. Most of you guys have left. It was me, Brandon, Scott, and his brother. And all we had in front of us was a little light on Scott's head to see the
Yeah.
light, right? Scott almost fell back on down a hill. I think I tripped forward a couple times. Poor Evan is like struggling to carry like 3 or 4 different chairs. I was sitting there like, God, how do the professionals do it? How do they do it? How do they manage to get truckloads of equipment? How do they manage to set up the sets? Like, I'm not talking about going to somebody's house and filming, right?
Yeah.
I'm talking about like the blue screens, the green screens that you see,
Yep.
the lights, like just all of that alone is so, like you said, so underappreciated. It really is. That actually leads me to my next question for you. In an industry like this that is so challenging, that is so like so much work to put in. How do you balance a work life, and industry life? Like, how do you balance all of that?
Well, so the nice thing about being an actor at the level that I'm at, where I'm not, on a set every single day of every single week of every single year, although sometimes it feels like that. Um, the nice thing is that I'm not there every day.
Right,
Um, I submit auditions, but the nice thing about backstage is that most of my submissions I don't need to do anything extra for. I just submit what I've already got. Like I've got my, you know, audition, monologues that I have on my profile that I submit with them. I got my, you know, headshot and resume, and usually that speaks for itself. And if a director wants to see more of me, they ask for it. Um, you know, so that doesn't take much. I can take 10 minutes a day and just go through backstage, submit for what I feel like I would fit, submit for the jobs that I could work, and then see what happens. Then I also work weekends, which I will say is a very hard thing to balance with working in productions at this level generally, because you know I mean I don't know, but I assume you have a 9 to 5 job, right?
right.
um, Scott has a 9 to 5 job.
Yeah,
Every director that I worked with has a 9 to 5 job,
I
and
do.
some people, some of the crew members, yeah, their main job is this. Their main job is running, cameras for productions. Their main job is running sound for productions. But in general, most people on the independent film level, this is not their main source of income. This is a passion. This is side work. Um, and so, unfortunately, most people say, "All right, well, we'll shoot on the weekends." Well, that's hard when the actors are bartenders or servers, which is supposed to be the flexible work that allows us to do this stuff. But then I make most of my money on a Friday and Saturday night. And when I have to take Saturdays off every week to film for a month, bosses don't like that. I don't like that. I'm losing a lot of money doing that.
Of course.
Especially when my payment is a profit share and not a day rate. That does get it gets a little intense. But for work life, industry life balance, it, it, I'm very big on my personal time. Um, I travel a lot. If you see me on social media, since I've been living in Jersey, I've been back to Chicago 5 times. I've been to Vegas twice. I went to Bermuda. I went to Indiana. I've been around. I In the last year, I've taken what 9 trips. Um, so I'm very big on. I do have a personal life, and I'm going to live that life. And you kind of have to work. I'm willing to work my life around my other commitments, but those other commitments kind of also have to work around me. Um,
Right.
so I mean, I'm very lucky that I have a really good group of friends. Back in Chicago, I've got a really nice group. A lot of people that I really love. Um, that are always up for anything really. Um, Out here in Jersey, I've started making some really good friends out here. It's just it's hard to maintain the personal life balance, but what I will say is that a lot of other people don't maintain their life balance as much as I do. Um, I find that I live a more free life than many other people do. And I'm not really sure where my disconnect with them is. Like, why are we not able to have the same kind of life balance? What are you doing that I'm not, where you aren't able to maintain that life balance? Because I'm also a full time student. I work 2 jobs. I work my serving and bartending job, and then I also work as a music teacher. And then I'm also doing these film projects. And I'm just saying, I'm not seeing where the disconnect is. Why can I maintain a personal life and you're so busy that you can't? What are you doing differently than me when I've got all this stuff going on?
Right, right.
And not only am I able to maintain my personal life for myself, well, for with my like friends, but I also have my own personal time as well. That's very important to me as well. That I have my time by myself. I actually set aside one night a week. I go out to a karaoke bar, but I don't go with my friends. I go and I sit by myself at the karaoke bar. I sit there at a table, not even at the bar top. I sit at a little 2-seat table by myself with my iPad. I focus on my personal work, whether that's doing homework for school or projects or whatever, or I work on writing something. I just finished up writing a pilot script that I want to see about potentially pitching around, see if anyone's interested in it. I think it's pretty cool, but whatever.
Right,
Uh, but I have that one night a week where I take my personal time, and yeah, then I get up and sing, and I do talk to people at the bar. People come up and talk to me. I guess I'm a decent singer. I'm not like an amazing singer or anything, but I'm decent, and people like hearing that. People like hearing it, so they talk to me. But in general, I kind of chill by myself, and if I'm not working on stuff like on my iPad or whatever, um, I just kind of take that time to reflect on myself and where I'm at and how I want to move forward into the next week and keep things moving. Where I need to kind of step up in certain areas. That's my personal thought, and that's important to have. Then I also have my personal life with my friends, and that's great. And then I've got my professional life. It's I don't find it very hard to maintain that balance. I'm not really sure where people do find it hard. I don't. I do get it. I do. People have busy lives, and it's sometimes your lives just don't coincide with when you're free and then they're free. But I think that it is very important that you make an effort to have
absolutely.
that personal life, because if you're just doing your professional life all the time, that becomes everything, and those people are miserable. The people who make their professional life everything for them, they're not happy, and as soon as that goes away, then they're not they have nothing. Like
Agreed.
people who work in restaurants, when you work, what I work 3 shifts a week generally, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Some people are in there 6 days a week, and I respect it. I do, but that becomes your life, and you take
Yeah.
that away. And who are you?
Yes.
As much as I love acting, as much as I love film, I require myself to be someone if you take that away from me.